Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and we're going to talk about school today. It is the beginning of September. It is going back to school time and I feel so strange this year because for the first time since I was 3 years old, I am not going back to school. I am done. So I feel so strange. It is such a huge part of your life when you think about it. From the first thing that you do, I started preschool when I was 3 years old. I went to kindergarten when I was 4 and stayed in college until I was 22. So this year just feels so strange, but because a lot of people are still going back to school and it's the beginning of fall and school season, I thought I would make a video about school books that take place around school settings or have to do with school. So we're gonna go right in. So for the first one we're going to talk about, we are going back to high school where we're going to talk about Teach Me by Olivia Dade. This one is a romance between two teachers at a high school. Rose thinks she is getting her own classroom for the first time. As a teacher, she's so excited to set up her own classroom and have her own space, and she learns right before school starts that she is actually going to have to share that classroom with a new teacher named Martin. She is not about that. She is not happy to have somebody else invading her space and taking classes from her. The department gives 2 classes that she is supposed to teach to Martin, to this new teacher, and she is so upset about this, and she immediately just dislikes Martin. She blames it on him. She's like, she doesn't want to be nice to him. She doesn't want to be cordial with him because she's upset. Martin doesn't realize that this has happened. Like, he doesn't really understand that. He understands that, like, he's invading her classroom that she thought was going to be hers, but he doesn't really know the extent of it. The classes that were given to him that were supposed to be taught by her were really important to her, and now it just feels basically like betrayed by the school that they gave it away. But they end up forming like enemies to lovers, becoming friends throughout the school year, becoming friends, and then it developing into more. One thing that I really liked about this book was Martin's daughter. Martin is a single father. He is divorced, and his daughter has Rose as a teacher and likes her a lot, and they get along really well, and I really thought that was such a cool inclusion in the story. A lot of the times when you have single dads, it talks a lot about like younger children, and this was him having a teenager, and I really liked that. So that was a great part of this story. I really enjoyed this one, and I really like Olivia Dade's writing. She is a plus size heroine, so she has a lot of plus size heroines in her books, and this is a plus size heroine, so I really appreciate that. But I thought this book was really good and would totally recommend it. The next one that I want to talk about is The Perfect First by Maya Hughes. This is a new adult romance, so it is college age students, and this is a sports romance. So this one is between a football player and a nerdy girl heroine. So this one has a little bit of an interesting like meet cute. Persephone, the heroine, is a genius. She is a prodigy, and her parents are very like hard on her. They are very focused on her education and not really on what she wants. So she's been learning her whole life. She loves learning, but she wants to have a real college experience, and she wants to have fun, and she doesn't really know how to do that. So she meets what is the hero's name? Reese, who is a football player, and he is a like big man on campus. He's the star football player of the team, and he needs to learn how to talk to the press better. So he goes to this interview with a PR specialist to learn how to talk to the press better. And he walks into this cafe where he sees this girl sitting in the corner. She's dressed like in a blazer. She looks kind of stuffy. And he goes up to her expecting, just assuming that she is the person that he's supposed to be meeting. And the first question that she asks, the first things that she starts asking are like, how long do you last in bed? How big is your penis? And Reese is so taken aback. He's like, these are important questions for PR. This is the kind of things that they're going to talk to me about. And he's so confused. And he finds out that Persephone is actually a student, and she had posted on the student blog that she needed somebody to take her virginity her first time to sleep with. And he is like, not about that. He's like, what the fuck? But they end up becoming like very strange friends and developing crushes on each other, and he becomes really protective of her, and it's really cute, and I really liked it. The next one that I want to talk about is Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. I love Christina C. Jones, and it was my first one that I had read by her, and I absolutely love her. This one is about Reese and Jason. They are older age students, which I really liked about this story. They're in their late 20s. They're both like returning students. Jason was in the military, I believe, so he's coming back to finish his degree, and Reese is a professor's assistant. So they are in the class together. Reese is the assistant to the professor, and Jason is taking the class. So Reese reads all of his papers and everything, and they end up having this like unfortunate encounter where he doesn't like his grade on something, and it sparks this like almost like a fight between the two of them where they are like bantering, and they don't get along at first. The Goodreads summary of this book, it describes it as, it's not opposites attract, it's like more like counterparts clash, which I think is a really good description. They're not really opposites, they're more like, they're very similar, but they clash a lot, and they are very attracted to each other, and it's really, really good. I really liked it, totally would recommend. I really, really liked the fact that they were older. It wasn't like college age students, but they were in college, so it was cool. The next one that I want to talk about is The Dugout by Megan Quinn. This is another sports romance. It's college age also. This is baseball though. So this one is about Carson, he was injured last year, and he's trying to get back to what he was. He had to take a season off, and now he's back, and he's ready to like kick ass. And he needs help kind of with his physical therapy, and his like getting his strength entirely back. And he doesn't really accept when everyone tells him that Millie is the best at helping with getting back to baseball, helping with baseball, because Millie is a girl and Carson is a little, what's a girl gonna tell me about baseball that I don't already know? And she is such a badass heroine. I really, really like her. She's very focused on her path. She very much knows what she wants. She wants to be a baseball coach, and she wants to like break down the walls, because obviously girls are not often baseball coaches. Basically, finally, they end up being able to work together, and Millie is able to help Carson be better, and he realizes how good of a coach she is and how much she really knows about baseball, and they end up falling in love because it's romance. Okay, so the last one that I wanted to talk about is a little bit different because does not take place at a school setting, and the school's not the focus of this book, but I still wanted to include it because it does have to do with school, and that is Floored by Carla Sorensen. This is book 3 in the Ward Sisters series, but you could totally read them out of order if you wanted to. This one is a non-traditional, like I said, school, because this character, Leah, is on a study abroad, and she goes to England, to London, and she is going, and she is doing basically kind of like an independent study at a study abroad program with this professor who she meets with, and she has to write this big giant like thesis paper throughout the semester and meet with her professor and have the professor go over it and like get her topic approved and everything. So this one is definitely not what you would think of when you think of like a school setting romance, but I did a study abroad program. I absolutely loved my study abroad experience. It was part of one of the best experiences of probably the best experience of my entire life. I absolutely adored it. So any chance I get to read about a study abroad experience, I had to mention it. I would recommend studying abroad to anyone. But this one is a girl named Leah who goes on this study abroad experience to England, and she ends up having a one-night stand with a guy in a bar around her first month of that she's there, and she ends up getting pregnant from this one-night stand, and she has to find the guy again and talk to him and figure out staying in her program and staying and finishing her school experience while also being pregnant, and the struggles of that, and the struggle of just being in a foreign country and being pregnant from a guy who she's not in a relationship with. And I actually really like this one. Surprise pregnancies are not really my thing. I don't hate them, but they're not my favorite thing in romance. But every once in a while I do enjoy a good surprise pregnancy romance, and I really enjoyed this one, so I would totally recommend it. I also really liked that Jude was a professional soccer player. I thought it was great the way that they did it, because Leah's older brother who raised her is a professional football player in the States, so she understood what it was to be a professional sports player, and she doesn't like fangirl or anything over Jude. She has no idea who he is when she first meets him, and when she finds out that he's a professional sports player, she doesn't care. And I really liked that, because Jude really needed that in his life. He needed to find somebody who didn't care that he was a soccer player but still supported his soccer. So that was they were really good for each other in that way. But I really liked this book, totally would recommend. So those are the ones that I wanted to talk about. Like I said in the beginning of this video, still find it so strange that I am not back at school. So let me know if you guys are in school, or if you felt as weird as I do right now when you didn't have to go back to school anymore. Or if you have any other good school setting romances that I should read. But that's it for this video. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, but that's it. Bye.